Hey everybody, Logan here. Today we're having a little bit of a discussion, a little bit of a topic that I've been really thinking about, especially since the video I decided to produce about selling my game collection, and also watching a few of RGT85 videos about the same topic. I've been seeing other people talk about it. People have been commenting, oh, you're just doing this for clickbait. No. You know what? I'm going to get into it. So we're going to sit back. We're going to relax. This is going to be a long one. Okay, so as you can see, I'm getting comfortable for this, and so should you. And if you are wondering, he moves. He moves. Someone asked. They thought he moved. Pete, he doesn't. No, so, where do I begin? I've been thinking about this for quite some time, and as you can see, stereotypical gaming YouTuber, all kinds of video games behind him, because that's apparently what we do when we film video game videos. But the whole thing is retro gaming. We're going to talk about retro gaming collecting, and how it's not fun anymore. It clearly isn't. And the big reason, well, 2020. Let's just call it 2020. 2020 ruined a lot of things. Ruined many, many things. But we're not going to get into those minor minor topics. We're going to get the big boy. Ruined retro gaming. Everybody was at home for a while, and all they did was decide to buy video games. So what did that do? Cause video game prices to skyrocket. Well, at least retro games, whether it's your Nintendo 64, your Super Nintendo, your GameCube, NES, Dreamcast, Sega Saturn. Oh my god, those games, they were already expensive as it is. But now it's gotten to the point where they're almost unobtainable. It's unobtainium. Get it? No? No. Oh, okay. It used to be fun to go to garage sales, to go to thrift stores, mom and pop shops, run into these classic Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64 games back in the day, and you're like, oh my, wow, I found this for $5, I got this for $2, I got this for 50 cents. And and you're looking at all these games, and it's like, man, it's the hunt was just fun. And sometimes you weren't even hunting, you were just stumbling upon these games. That used to be fun, to amass a collection for dirt cheap. And these games would either be fantastic, some would be terrible, but some of them would be the ones that actually resonate with you right there. But now, video games have gotten to a point where it's so expensive just to get C-level, D-level titles, whether you're talking even GameCube, Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, Saturn, poor games that didn't do well, games that weren't fun, games that just felt like shovelware, and can now be astronomically high. And the only way to get a lot of these games, you almost never find them. You might find some PS2, some original Xbox 360, PS3 here and there, but it's going to be a Madden or a Tiger Woods or something that you're going to find at thrift stores, at garage sales. Rarely do you ever find any hidden gems. Most people these days know what they have when it comes to video games, and they either want to charge too much or sell it on eBay. Because, God forbid, you buy games anywhere, sell games anywhere that isn't eBay. Everything is online. And yeah, you can just, if you want a certain game, you can just, hey, look, I found it, $300. So that has also caused a rise in emulation. And again, going back to RGT85's video, he bought that, if you watch the live stream he did, I think it was last week, depending on when you're watching this, after the Spawncast, the after show, he showed the emulation machine he got. I'm not a fan of emulation. except for certain things. Like I love the arcade one-ups or the Nintendo classics or the Sega Genesis Mini, stuff like that. That I don't mind. Or compilation discs or cartridges for Switch or PlayStation, what have you. I don't mind those. Um, it's different. It really is different these days because it's just so overpriced. It's not even fun, and the hunt is non-existent. And buying retro games, hunting for retro games, finding them out in the wild was all part of the fun. And doing it for, within a good budget price. Can't do that anymore. It's taken all the fun away. Now everybody's selling through game stores or online sites or DK oldies. No, I'm just mentioning that because that's a big thing these days. People are talking about how bad they are, and I don't know. I've never bought anything from them. I have purchased from stores such as PlayAsia and East Starland. I actually visited East Starland. I did a video on that a number of years ago when I was in DC, went up into Virginia. But yeah, it just ain't the same. It's not fun. I will say the only thing that's still fun about retro collecting is if you're retro collecting imports. It's still fun to find those rare oddball Japanese Famicom, Super Famicom, Nintendo 64, GameCube games because they're cheap. And they're games that we may not necessarily have had here in the States. So this is talking about the United States, of course, because I know I have audiences across the world, in the UK, Mexico, but I guess that counts. Canada, that counts. But it just isn't. It isn't the same as finding that copy of King Arthur for Super Nintendo, or Akari Warriors 3 for the NES, or P&O 3 for the GameCube, something like that, Earthworm Jim 3D for the Nintendo 64, or Panzer Dragoon for Sega Saturn, or Virtual On for the Dreamcast. Plenty of great games. And then even games like, even the PS1 era has gotten a little expensive. Marvel vs. Capcom, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Parasite Eve 2, Brave Fencer Musashi. These games are just Xenosaga. They've just gotten so out of hand in terms of price. Unless you're buying them digitally on PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, or Nintendo eShop, it really, it's really gone out of basically the budget of the majority of gamers these days. And it's not because gamers are, especially game collectors, are broke. It's basically the economy and the economy around retro games. The market has shot things through the roof. And then when you combine that with, for example, just how expensive eggs are, people are less likely to buy these games. And when they do, they hold on to them, and then they don't sell them. They're like, oh, these are going to get so much more expensive, I'm going to hold on to it. And then, yes, that causes the market to rise. And it's gotten to the point where retro game collecting is just not fun. Don't get me wrong. It's fun to have a collection. It's fun to look at them. But if you're not going to play them, having them at your fingertips on something like that, where you can just go, all right, what am I doing today? I have some free time. Playing something like that, that's cool. Where you can just flip a switch and you're playing. Here, there's 8 games on this thing. 8 games that weren't released on console, at least in this version. We do have games like Super Street Fighter, but their arcade versions are a bit different. And then there were games that were just never released that are just really cool to have. But that arcade experience is gone too. But that's a whole nother story. There are a few places. There are places like barcades and stuff like that. But I don't know. Makes me sit back and just go, oh, Yeah, yeah, it makes me do that. Where I'll sit and I'll look around the game room. Don't worry, you guys will be seeing the game room tour. Yes, I'm sinking further and further into my couch throughout this video. It's just how it works because it's comfortable. And I do have a large Sonic the Hedgehog pillow here. So you look around, you look at your collection, you go, is it worth keeping? Stuff is worth so much these days. Can I play it in another way? Am I still going to play it? Or the memory's going to fade if I get rid of the game? Memories might fade whether you keep the game or not. I don't know. It's not fun anymore. It's still fun to play new games. Really enjoy playing new games. Currently playing WWE 2K23. Always enjoy a good wrestling game. Recently beat Hogwarts Legacy. Decided to go back after all these years. Yes, it's been like 6 years. And finally finished Breath of the Wild. And yeah, well, that's for another video, but I never finished it. But I'm working on that now. And to play some new games. And if I want, pop up that Switch Online. Start playing those old NES, Sega Genesis, Game Boy, Game Gear. No, sorry, Game Gear's not on there. That was on my Wii U. But you can still play those games. Sorry, not Wii U, 3DS. And then if anything, you can still turn on your PS4 and you got PlayStation Plus Premium. You got some PS1 games. You got some solid PS1 games, some PSP games, some PS2 games. PS3 games, PlayStation not being as old as the Nintendo consoles. And then you got Xbox. Oh, Xbox. Yeah, between backwards compatibility, well, if you're just jumping into Xbox, good luck. But if you've been on Xbox Live for a number of years, since maybe the Xbox 360, Xbox One, where they were giving out the free games, and you've amassed a large digital collection, hey, there's a great way to stay in shape. No, it's a great way to play older games you might have missed, or just have them on your console and boot them up whenever you want. That's what I do, instead of continuing to amass a collection that might be on a console that is no longer compatible with my TVs. Because that's another thing. When you're talking about getting an old console and trying to connect it to a new TV, some TVs just don't have the ability because they've gotten rid of RCA or RF input, and that's been a long time. So if you don't have HDMI and the correct adapter and then a modification device to make it look good, it's just a pain in the butt. Hence me purchasing or having the console purchased for me for my birthday last year, and I'm still waiting for it, which is the Polymega. I know a number of people have already received theirs, and I've been talking about it a lot because that's really going to be what's going to allow me to open up this game room, allow me to have maybe more of a, let's call it a shrine to my gaming history. My Nintendo, my original PlayStation, my Game Gear, the games that defined me. That's what this room's going to become, instead of just storing my video games. And that's thanks to this Polymega device. If you guys haven't heard of it, again, take a look. There's plenty of videos of it. Metal Jesus Rocks covered it, but I'll be covering it when I get it in. And I'm going to install, you see, my Genesis games and my Sega Saturn stuff. Those are all going to go on there. And then a lot of those games, like I said, I'm just going to sell them off to get some new stuff. But I'll still have them. They'll still be archived. They'll still be available for me to play. I'm going to do the same thing with Famicom, Super Famicom. I think there's a way around because the module on the Polymega doesn't technically support Famicom, but I have an adapter. We'll see how that goes. But I'm straying too far off this subject. This modernization and this market of retro gaming and the fact that it's gone so mainstream has really taken the fun out of it. When I was younger, I used to go to other stores called Play and Trade, or sometimes I'd even go to yard sales on Saturdays if we want to go back even further with my grandfather, the days when I got my Dreamcast and I would find Super Nintendo games all the time, dirt cheap. I remember my grandfather went to a yard sale and got me an NES, perfect condition, with games like DuckTales, Top Gun, RBI Baseball, so many games. There was maybe 20 something games, and he got it for like $20. And you don't see that anymore. You will never ever see that anymore. Maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe I'm rambling on too much. Maybe I should just shut up. But this is one of those videos where I just decided to sit back and talk to you. Yeah, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you guys. Drop it in the comments below. What do you think about collecting? Retro game collecting, specifically in 2023. Did 2020 ruin it for you? Did the lack of hunt ruin it for you? Did eBay ruin it for you? I don't know too many people. I haven't talked to too many people that have actually said it's fun still. They enjoy it. They enjoy dropping large amounts of cash on a game they'll play for 10 minutes or they have shiny memories of. You guys tell me. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this video. I decided to cut it a little short. I actually thought I was going to ramble on for about 20 minutes. I had ideas that I wanted to address, and I just went, you know what? I'm just going to shoot it off the cuff. And I think I'm just going to leave it here. I'm just meh. Today's one of those days where I'm feeling meh. It's a day before my surgery, too. So thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to hit that little bell icon, turn on notifications so you know when episodes of our new podcast, Ready to Start podcast, featuring myself, of course, Nick Dool from Click to Enlarge, and Punisher 305 from Miami Geeks, as well as Josie Woldemar. Sorry, I'm sorry, Josie, for your last name. For me, always over that. But we have a big, huge guest coming. And if you guys have watched this now to the end, April 6th, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to say it again. But if you guys have watched this far in the video, I'm going to tell you, RGT85 is going to be joining us. April 6th, the first podcast back, episode 3, after a 2-week hiatus. That's just because my surgery tomorrow, and then MegaCon next week. And I will be putting up a special MegaCon video for that. But thank you, RGT85, for joining us. He said he will be a part of it, and I can't be more grateful to him. Thank you so much for being our massive, huge guest. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this video, turn that bell on for notifications so you know when we go live. It'll be Thursday night, Eastern, 8:30 p.m., April 6th, episode 3, Ready to Start. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like we always say, be legendary. Thanks again.